Hi, I'm Fiona, and about 6 years ago, I liked to make comics. My first ever was the Wolf Girl and Her Dog series about, well, a wolf girl and her dog. That comic became the Wolfcat and Dragon Dog comics, and I still have the third book in that series. It was made on lined notebook paper, colored with crayons, and stapled together to be sold for 10 cents. But after writing the comics, I wanted to turn them into a TV show. I would have to learn how to turn a book into a movie. You probably know the confusion surrounding turning any book into a movie or show. Plot points are switched around, scenes have to be removed or stretched, and the visuals often don't match what you imagine the world to look like. At first, I was confused. Why not keep the story exactly how it is? The main issue is the medium. In writing, the reader takes in every word without missing a detail, but in visual media, your eye doesn't scan every pixel. So if you were a storyteller trying to hide a secret that would be revealed later, you would need to adapt the mystery to your medium. In a book, you might hint at the secret or sprinkle clues in dialogue. In a film, you would hide symbols or messages in the background while the viewer is distracted. Otherwise, you could be left with awkward dialogue or overly detailed descriptions. In my comic, the main characters Wolfcat and Dragon Dog have a conversation while the evil dragon rats are plotting. So, in the show...
In the cave. Woof, 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 woof. Hey, dude. Yeah?
The nonsensical barking is so much more obvious when you have to hear every word. If I were to adapt this scene instead of copying it, maybe I would show Wolfcat and Dragon Dog moving in the background to hint at a conversation without overloading the audio. It's a difficult balance. Some changes in an adaptation can be good, like removing this unexplained earthquake and adding dialogue to better explain scenes. But other times, it destroys a fundamental part of the story. In the comics, we see Wolfcat crying throughout the episode, which she never does in any other part of the story. It develops her character as a brave yet still loving leader. But for some reason, maybe due to skill or acting constraints, she's only ever angry or nervous. Viewers will get a different message from the episode than the readers will. So, how do we preserve a story while adapting from one medium to another? For this example, I'll take this shot from the first episode of the show.
What? Where am I? What? I'm flying?
And turn it into a poster. First, I start by spotting the differences between the media. In the show, the characters move around the scene, but the poster has to be stagnant. The show also has less resources like time and artists available per shot due to how many scenes are required, but I can spend a lot more time on one poster. Finally, the show has audio, but the poster will need to rely on poses and expressions to hint at emotion. Next, I imagine what parts I could improve in the scene. Changing the background makes sense as it only wasn't there due to time constraints. I can tweak the poses to express their awe to replace dialogue. Improving the character design isn't usually necessary for a poster, but after 6 years, the designs have naturally evolved. This is where most adaptations can fail. If you make a change that isn't necessary to translate between media, it can break down the integrity of the story. I considered changing the scene from horizontal to vertical to make the characters fill a space, but it isn't necessary for a poster. It would diminish the expansiveness of the landscape and make the world feel enclosed, which is the opposite of the original shot's vibe of exploration and vastness. While I didn't copy the scene exactly, the message and structure are still clear. But what if preservation isn't the only goal of an adaptation? This opens a whole new issue of tweaking an adaptation to improve it in a new way. When making an adaptation, the creator has a rare opportunity to correct the original content without destroying its existing charm. In the original comics, the evil scientist is arrested and put in jail for whatever crime doing this is. It's there to show that while they've stopped the scientist for now, she's still as crazy as ever, which is shown through her expression. But it creates a whirlpool of questions. Why haven't we seen any form of government earlier? How did they figure out she was illegally experimenting? Why don't we hear her escape or release? So in the adaptation, she's never arrested. Instead, we see her mad scientist qualities through her odd contraptions and unethical practices. Another issue is that some media have different expectations compared to their originals. Comics are usually colored with a few bright colors and harsh black lines, but in a live-action remake, you'll never see this kind of energy. Why? Live-action films need to look real. Not only is this kind of effect hard to achieve, it looks odd and strains your eyes. There's so many of these invisible limitations that can make an adaptation deviate further from the original. It's important to remember when making or watching an adaptation that, along the way, changes have to be made. Some can enhance the original while others can ruin it. Do you think these changes are necessary? I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Goodbye!